What's up?
Hey.
How are ya?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Your hair looks very lovely and natural today.
Thank you. I didn't blow dry it today. Well, I usually blow dry my hair straight every day.
Uh-huh.
Oh, also, welcome to Dude That's Fucked Up. I'm Erin.
Yes. I'm Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just free. I should probably take better care of my hair, but
It looks nice.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up? What's going on? What's the biz? What's the haps?
I don't know what the biz is. My thing is like a fucked up / biz of the week. Do you want me to just tell you?
Sure.
Well, we got a flurry of responses from last week's episode about toilets.
Yes.
And I think I made a comment about how a baby just shits and pisses in your womb.
I'm pretty sure that's not accurate.
Yeah.
And somebody confirmed it.
Oh, I got multiple confirmations on my end, so
I think I'd get really fucking sick if I just had a dumps and piss all up in me. Yeah.
I mean, I figured they didn't, but also I wasn't sure, and I knew if they did, it wouldn't be poop anyway. It'd just be like a fluid or something. But anyway, they definitely don't shit in your womb. And they have a butt plug, which is what my sister-in-law Eliza said, called meconium, and that's
the black tarry poop that they first have.
Yeah, because they have like a little cork in there, and she said that that when my niece was born, she lost it in the birth. She was so upset by being born, she just shot it out the butt and it got lost somewhere, and the doctors were nervous that she inhaled part of it or something.
That happens all the time. I learned from watching the show called The Midwife that the babies can shit in you right before you give birth, and when that happens and your water breaks, it's gross. It's
toxic.
Really gross. Yeah, it's just icky, sludgy and gross, and that happens. You probably did it when you were a kid. You don't know.
No, I didn't.
It happens
You don't
a lot.
know. I didn't. I did not eat my own poop in the womb. It didn't get anywhere near my face or mouth.
That's not what I heard. I asked your mom.
I do remember.
She'll confirm.
I do remember being in the bathtub one time with my cousin Sarah. I was probably 3 or 4, and she shit in there. And my mom.
No, Sarah.
Yeah, I know. And I go, we were just in there, and my mom was on the phone in the doorway or something. And I go, Mom. My mom came in, and she's like, oh my God. And my mom made my cousin sit in it while she took me out first and wiped me off.
I hope your cousin doesn't mind that you're just blowing up her spot.
She was little.
Yeah.
But I just remembered it floating around. I'm just splashing and stuff, and I just remember it floating around the side, and I was like, oh no.
That's a turd, just like the astronauts.
Turd on the loose, Houston, we have a problem.
A poopy problem.
Big poopy problem.
I think that my brother did that once when we were kids too.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens, yeah.
You gotta go.
Yeah, you don't, and sometimes when you're young, you just don't know how to control it.
You don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Or she did it on purpose because she was a bitch. No. Just kidding.
Spite shit. She's like, that bitch stole my Barbie. I'm gonna shit in the bathtub.
So my Barbie shoes have gone missing. There's only one bitch that could have taken these. I'm gonna shit in her tub.
Rude. Oh my God. That's so much education. We're still learning.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for bearing with us and helping further our education. That last episode was a lot, and man, I
feel like we didn't
learn so much.
Yeah, we
didn't even scratch the surface. Really.
No, I agree. We can do more episodes on pooping for sure.
Yeah, and it is really, really fucked up in kind of in a very depressing way. The further you look into it and realize how few people have the luxury and privilege of having like what we have,
A flushing toilet.
a flushing toilet in their home. So,
Yeah.
yep, very lucky. Speaking of, I'm going to stay on the toilet topic a little bit.
Excellent.
I had a clogged shower. This, like, it's been gradually getting worse and worse, and I finally called the plumber, and he came over, and he, like, you know, snaked all the drains. And I was like, you go ahead, I'm going to be down here doing work. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's for the best, because I just pulled out literally 2 feet of hair. And he's like, and I'm not even going to blame it all on you, because I'm pretty sure this drain has never been touched before. So he's like, previous owners probably... Like, he's like, it's more than, like, 5 years worth of hair, for sure.
I was going to say, it's like 100 years of hair, because isn't your house really old?
Well, my house is really old, but, like, all the plumbing's new and stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's like the hair of ghosts past.
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, the person who, like, revamped the house definitely put a lot of thought and care into redoing the plumbing. But since then, it hasn't been cleaned, so... He was just like, yeah, that's definitely not all your hair, because there was way too much for it to just be you. And I was like, okay. Oh, my God. But could be. My hair really, I lose a lot of hair in the shower, so.
You know what? But you know what? Just take that with grace, and...
I go with God.
Go with God.
But the fucked up thing is, and I knew this already, but... And honestly, I think I read a Gawker article about it. But flushable wipes are very bad for the environment. And we use them in my house. And the plumber was like, you got to stop using these. He's like, I know that they're great and convenient and, you know, makes you feel better after going to the bathroom. He's like, but they really don't break down as quickly as they should. It takes about a year for them to break down, and they can cause massive problems for your personal, like, plumbing in your house. So, not just, like, environmentally, but, like...
Oh, no.
He's like, I've seen these, like, wreck, full-on fuck up a house's, like, plumbing system, so...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So probably going to phase those out and just stick to the bidet.
Yeah, I know. I think I need to do that. I knew they were a problem too, but then I just like lived in my ignorance, and I was like, or I just ignored it altogether, really, because I wasn't ignorant about it. But I was like, these say they're flushable and that they break down and they're safe for septic, so the technology must be getting better. It's fine.
Yeah, like you're like rationalizing it.
Like, sometimes these crumble apart in my hand. They're fine. They'll just be fine. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. You know, like when you try and get one out of the container and just like a bunch of holes rip in it. I'm like, no, it's like almost disintegrated.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like some brands that are like quote unquote better than others, but
they're not good.
I think, as a best practice for life and for the environment.
Yeah.
Especially after the episode we did talking about the journey of our waste.
Yeah.
It's not, it sucks.
It sucks so bad. I really like a clean asshole. I think I just need to, get some little bidets up in there.
Yeah, like I said, the one I bought off Amazon was only $25, and I installed it really easily.
I mean, also, like, usually, if I'm lucky, my schedule is in the morning is when I poop, and then I could take a shower. And then
That's ideal.
Yeah, then you're fine. You just wash your butt in the shower, and then you're good. And you have a clean, pristine butthole all the livelong day.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah. But that's not always the case, though. Sometimes you are on your period, and you get diarrhea all day.
Mm-hmm.
Thank the Lord. And then
that's a fun thing that happens when you're a woman.
And then you gotta poop all the day, and then you gotta wipe multiple times. And you need a wet wipe because you can't be taking 4 showers. That's not good for the environment either. So where do we draw the line?
Where do we draw the line?
You know, it's hard. It's hard being a woman. I think all the women know this, but the men might not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I'm going to obviously cite being pregnant once again as a thing that's hard, because it is.
Yeah.
And dudes just not understanding. Like, everybody's very nice and, like, smiles and are kind, but I think deep down, DJ's really glad that he doesn't have to be pregnant.
I think that's probably true.
He really is sweet, and he's like, if I could make it a junior situation for you, I would do it. Like the movie Junior.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's funny.
But I know he doesn't mean it.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
That's the thing. It's like they can say that because they know it can't happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Good for you.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's all my fucked upness. Yeah. Anything else for you?
Nope. I don't have anything else. I would just say, let's get into it. It's very fun. Oh, yeah. Let's explain a little bit.
Yeah. This is going to be our first 2-part series. That we've done. So, because there's a lot to this story about the individual we're about to talk about. Yeah. So the first part we are presenting to you today, and you'll get the part 2 next week.
Oh my God. And I think we've split it at just the right place. So I think so. It's very fun. You're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to hear the second part. Also, we're doing this out of necessity just because things are getting busy. Erin's going to have a human soon that she basically shits out her vagina. And so then that's going to be, that's going to put her out of commish for a little bit. So
I'll be out of commish for a bit. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're testing out new innovative ways to keep the content flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, let us get into it.
Yes.
And before we do, I just want to let y'all know
oh.
that I subjected myself to a musical for research. And it was terrible. I think I hate musicals, guys.
What? No, this is news to everybody listening. Yeah.
And news that will shock literally no one. Erin hates musicals.
Although,
God damn it.
I loved in the notes, Erin's like, I watched a musical for you guys. And I was like, what a martyr.
It was very hard. I paused it at least 5 times to see where it was at. And literally at one point, I was like, when is it over?
Oh, like pause it to be like, oh, it has to have been 45 minutes by now. Yeah. And it's been like 12 minutes. And you're like, no.
Yep. It was rough.
Which musical was this?
This was a movie that just came out last year called The Greatest Showman.
Oh.
Showman.
Showman.
In case you haven't seen it or don't know, this movie is about P.T. Barnum, and that's who we are talking about today. You might recognize the name from the movie, maybe, or from the circus. That's the name recognition. P.T. Barnum and Bailey Circus.
I didn't watch this movie. My mom was like, I want to go see it. And I was
going to ask you if you had.
Okay. My mom was like, oh, I really want to see this movie. Like when it came out, and I was like, you're on your own.
Yeah, you're like, cool, have fun, bye.
Yeah, I'm like, thank God it's not your birthday or Mother's Day or anything, because then I'd have to go.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to spend money on it, because it was Zendaya's in it, and I was just like, this is the only redeeming. It wasn't even redeeming.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I love her so much, but
it doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
It was rough. And I also found myself being upset that Michelle Williams was in it. So
because she's such a darling, and
she's wonderful.
what were they thinking? I mean, see, the reason I didn't watch it was one, Hugh Jackman. I'm like not super into him, but
No.
but second, Zac Efron was in it, and I was just like, this is like too many confusing things.
Well, but he's like High School Musical, so it's like kind of a natural thing for him, I think.
Yeah, but I just want to see him in like comedies now because he's so
That's
good
true.
at that, and it's like,
I want to see
stick
him.
to what you're good at.
I want to see him topless.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I saw fucking Baywatch.
Oh, same. I enjoyed it.
And that movie was infinitely. I mean, if on a scale of watchable and non-watchable, this fucking movie about P.T. Barnum is so far down the row of non-watchable for me, while Baywatch is at the very top of that range.
I agree.
Because The Rock also.
Oh, yes. Oh, and it was like, there's like funny jokes in it. And also, I feel like going into it, Baywatch was not trying to be a cinematic masterpiece that gets nominated for an Oscar, while the other movie definitely was doing that.
God damn it.
I will say, though, this is like a cool thing. I have a friend who I've like performed with and stuff that was actually in the performance of the song at the Oscars.
That was really good. Okay, that song was good. That was a good song. I will give it that.
He performed on stage at the fucking Oscars, and he's right to the like right-hand side of her. Like if you watch footage, and like people memed him and shit.
Oh my God,
it's pretty exciting. I have like
chills.
Well,
that's
it's
cool.
So good for him. Yeah, but still.
And that was as much as I'm poo-pooing the movie, that was actually a very good song, and I will give it that. But otherwise, this movie is trash for many reasons that are personal to me. But most of all, because it is so desperately and horribly inaccurate of a portrayal of a real life person who is not the best, guys.
both factually, but also P.T. Barnum did not look like Wolverine in the slightest. He looked more like, okay.
Are you going to be mean?
No, well, I can't even, because I literally Googled weird looking character actors just to find someone that I thought was like better suited, and the only
he looks like a wizard from Harry Potter.
Yes, I was gonna say.
What's his name? Yeah.
Oh, literally any of the dudes from Harry Potter. The guy with the weird eye.
Yeah.
Could have played him. Perfect.
Mad Eye Moody. Yeah.
Yeah. That should have been who they cast.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of. But anyway, he didn't come up, so I don't know what his real name is. But the other guy that turns into like the rat or whatever. He's like the little rat-faced guy.
Yeah.
He could have played him. Yeah, he could have played him. Or the guy.
I think the potions professor from.
Was he in Moulin Rouge?
Maybe. I don't know. He's in a lot of stuff, but that's who I think of when I see like that's who should have played him.
Bridget Jones' dad.
Yes.
That's who came up also. And I was like, any of these people would have been fantastic. Also, he sings because he was the guy in Moulin Rouge that was very P.T. Barnum-esque.
Okay.
And I was like,
that's who should have played him.
Yeah. But then they're like, no, this is Hollywood and we need someone attractive. And I'm like, this is the first step of many that you do to get this wrong.
Dude. Also, I don't know. That's a lot. Well,
oh God.
Yeah. Just because Hugh Jackman was in Les Mis, like, does not give you the right.
No. Also, like, stop trying to make Hugh Jackman happen, okay?
It's the same as, like, with Zac Efron. I just want to see him in action movies. Just put him in all the X-Men movies. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
He doesn't need to do anything else.
Logan was a great movie. Just stay in your lane, Hugh Jackman. I don't know. Whatever. He could do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we have lots of thoughts and feelings about the movie, but let's just like talk a little bit about his beginnings. Like we're gonna go through a lot of stuff. He had a very massive life. He lived a long time. He had a just interest in everything. And he was known as the greatest American showman. Mm-hmm. He was a businessman who was known in his day as a bit of a flim-flam man, but was also very successful and very self-aware of the fact that he was this like kind of persona, and he used that persona to rise to an insane level of fame in the mid to late 1800s. So he started the traveling circus we all know, Barnum and Bailey Circus. He was a problematic dude in his time, and definitely problematic, to say the least, by today's standards. He was a man of many, many contradictions and professions. And that's basically the gist. And we're going to go through all the things that made him just a very problematic human.
Yeah.
So he was born Phineas Taylor Barnum, and he was born July 5th, 1810.
What? Is that someone else's birthday?
It is your birthday.
Oh my God. Birthday twins.
So exciting. He was born in Bethel, Connecticut. You can read this part. Of course he did.
He called himself, he fancied himself a Yankee Doodle Dandy +1. That was his nickname for himself.
Yankee Doodle Dandy +1?
Yeah. Because, you're a Yankee Doodle Dandy if you're born on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
+1.
Cool.
Wow. We could just see the business savvy and genius already peeking through at a young age.
The marketing wheels are turning. You got to start somewhere when you build your brand.
Yeah.
He went to school just long enough to master the basics of reading and writing.
It's the basics.
Just the basics. It's like an oxymoron. You're not doing yourself any favors there.
It is, yeah.
He was raised in the religion of Congregationalism.
Do you know what? I don't really know much about that aside from it being very repressive.
Well, yeah, and I mean this was in a weird time where I think religion was people were trying to figure out everything. This is he was born in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Everything was kind of not super cohesive.
Yeah. And it was all embracing religion embraced mostly the scary side where it's be good or you're going to get
you're going to go to hell.
You're going to have enemas for eternity from the devil in hell with fire with liquid hot magma or whatever.
Ugh.
And it's oh my God. Okay, so this is what's weird because it was a very strict religion, and you know, they all were. We were just saying, but this one in particular, or it may have been this religion, but also a combination of the town he grew up in was super into lotteries, which is gambling, and that's a sin. So I don't understand that, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so there's that one thing. Maybe they didn't call it gambling then. But the second thing is they were still trying to have fun by playing practical jokes and one-upping each other with pranks, which is also very rude and I would say sinful. It's very mean. It's very tricky. And I think we all know how I feel about practical jokes. I've said it multiple times.
Satan loves practical jokes.
I mean, Satan's who makes practical jokes, probably.
Yeah.
Because they're so evil.
Yeah.
But I did think it was funny that in a very
oh my God,
fun...
this is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Go on, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. In a very fun practical joke, his granddad and namesake, so someone also named Phineas, which probably was pretty popular back then.
Yeah.
When he was born... immediately wrote P.T. Barnum into his will and was I will bequeath upon you when I die a piece of land that is rich and will be prosperous for you called Ivy Island. And it sounded very regal, and P.T. Barnum as a kid up until the age of 10 was going around town being oh yeah, fucking Ivy Island, I own that shit, bitch, who's the man? And then, it literally telling everybody around it, I am bequeathed to Ivy Island. And then at the age of 10 discovered that it was actually a swamp island covered in poison ivy that was like a cruel joke that his grandpa like gave him this piece of land, and the whole town knew about it. They were all in on the joke, and they just like
oh my God.
talked shit and laughed about it behind his back.
They're like, oh, cool, man. Oh, yeah, Ivy Island. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really fancy. And
oh my God.
Oh, that's so fucked up. Oh my God. I fucking love that so much.
It's so good, but like that's like gonna leave an impression on you.
Yeah.
As a young child.
I think after this, like, first of all, it's really rude. That's so mean to do to a child.
Like, it's funny, but like, no, like no harm comes of it. It's like not one of those ones where it's like, but you're embarrassed. You're like deeply embarrassed.
Yeah, especially when the whole town fucking knows about it and has been like laughing behind your back at your like pompousness.
It's like mustard back all over again.
I was first of all, nobody knows what that is.
They're all the patrons do. They're all laughing behind his mustard back.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, oh, look at the mustard all over my back.
I know.
So different.
I just wanted to bring it up and be an asshole.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, so he probably needed therapy though after this. Like this is like the fact that his grandfather like went to the extreme of like writing him into his will for the sake of a practical joke is very extra. And so
but this is what made him like dedicated to this, as we'll find out. And also it was called like being humbugged back then.
Humbugged,
yeah, like when you got like pranked, you were
like
humbugged.
bah humbug. But it really meant like you got pranked.
You were like what you were like duped.
You were duped. So so he actually, like, after he got over his initial like humiliation from this, he kind of like loved it. And was like, this is the way to live life, is to just be just wild out and trick everybody. So he was already like, he was super smart in his early years. Even though he only mastered the basics of reading and writing and arithmetic, he was actually really good with numbers, and he really hated physical labor. So which, man, what a piece of shit. You're like, okay, you want to apply yourself in school, and the only option you have in the early 1800s is probably to do manual labor. So what you gonna do, huh? So he didn't become an accountant. Mm-mm. No, he was like, I'm going to do a million different things. So his dad died actually when he was 16 years old, which is very sad, but that left him the store, the shop that his father was the proprietor of, and he basically took over that when he was like a teenager.
Yeah.
And did that. And he was also a book auctioneer, which I guess he sold books. He was a real estate speculator. He ran a statewide lottery network, which is very impressive. And he started a weekly paper in 1829. So in 1834, lotteries were banned in Connecticut, where he was living, and that was his main income. So he sold. And his store and the newspaper went out under that he also owned. So he just sold the store and moved to New York City. So everything kind of just collapsed and fell apart for him.
First time of many.
Yeah, first time of many. He learned to deal with failure and adversity pretty early on, because this was all in the span of his late teens and early 20s. He was doing all this. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you know how it's like, do one thing well, but he was like just doing like tons of things like mediocre, if that. I feel like. That's what happens. You know, like, you can't own a newspaper and then be like, okay, but I'm not going to be here all week. I gotta run this lottery.
That's why multitasking is not a fucking way to do things.
No, not long term. Only like, as necessary. Yeah,
it actually in the long run makes you not very productive. So So he moves to New York. Oh, and he also got married to a woman named Charity during this time.
Yeah.
But she did not want to move to New York.
No. And they started having kids and stuff. She seemed a little bit like she did not like a good humbug. Or she did not like a good humbug.
Yeah, she was not down to get humbugged. She wasn't into that. This is Michelle Williams' character in the movie. She's
really?
Charity. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Also poor
Rude.
casting because I've seen some pictures of Charity.
It's a fucking movie, goddammit. Fucking Hollywood, man.
Dude, I know, but it's like at least I don't know.
Nobody'd watch it if it wasn't for beautiful people.
True that. You're right.
Because it would be an even shittier movie if there was just like, who is this in this movie?
It's movie magic. Let's get the most attractive looking people and put them in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so she wasn't like the most fun, but
yeah.
So then in 1835, he was 25 years old. He began his career as a showman by putting almost every penny he had into the purchase of a blind and almost completely paralyzed slave woman named Joyce Heth. He bought a slave. And yeah, it's so weird. The Greatest Showman totally neglected to mention this. I don't know why they left that out of the movie. Like, even though at this point in time in America, slavery was outlawed in Pennsylvania and New York at the time, there was a loophole that allowed him to fucking lease her like a car.
Oh my God.
For $1,000 a year, which is like 30 grand. Literally like a car. He borrowed $500 to complete the sale. So he put all his money, which he had like $500 in the bank, into buying her, and then he also borrowed the $500, other $500. So,
because he had a plan.
So what he did with this woman is he set up an exhibition where he said she was a 161-year-old former nurse of George fucking Washington.
It's like the information I found was that either it's like hard to debate. Either he was sold her thinking she was 161 years old, which, I mean, even just mastering the basics, you know that's not true since no one lives beyond like 100 years old. And then, so there, it's like unsure of whether like he was duped, which I don't think he was, or
Absolutely
he just
not.
set this up to like dupe people to thinking that she was really old, which is more likely.
Yeah, he was a 25-year-old man.
Yeah.
With experience in the world, like
this
was, but regardless of whatever how old she was most certainly a slave.
Yeah.
Or a quote unquote former slave. And he owned her essentially. Yeah. So, and he
lease to own.
God. So he had her on display and like told people like this is like he made money from her. He used her to make money. Yeah. And she was actually only about 80 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he knew this.
Only.
I mean, that's old. That's old.
That's old. And
she was in not the best health. Like she was blind and paralyzed, and so he had her at this exhibition and on display or whatever, and worked her for 10 to 12 hours a day, like constantly, and she ended up dying after a year.
Yeah,
if that, of being under his eye. Oh my God.
May it open. What's the thing?
May the Lord open.
Oh yeah, may the Lord open.
Yeah. Fuck. And so of course he wants to keep the train rolling. So what does he do? He has a fucking he hosted a live autopsy of her body in a New York saloon.
Yeah. because did we say, like, because he had, like, swindled people into thinking she was 161, people
Yeah.
were paying money to come see her in person. She
Yeah.
was, like, one of the first, like, kind of sideshow type
Yeah.
things. You know, people were like, wow, here's this old lady. And then they'd come in. She probably just looked really old because she had a hard living as a fucking slave.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like,
And even,
whoa.
and then hard living again in her later years.
Because she's having to sit in a chair for 12 hours while people come in and, like, gawk at her.
Yep.
And then she dies, and he's like, oh, let me turn a few more extra bucks.
Yeah, exactly. So he does this live autopsy of her, and people paid 50 cents to see her cut up, basically.
That's awful.
And he knew she was not 161 years old, but by doing this, like, autopsy, he was like, see, she was only 80. Isn't that amazing? Like, look at what the autopsy has shown us. Like,
oh my God.
And so, yeah, it was just so gross.
Yeah.
I highly recommend a very shady article on Smithsonian.com by Jackie Mansky called P.T. Barnum Isn't the Hero the Greatest Showman Wants You to Think. Like, and it details the whole why this is so fucked up. I mean, obviously, but goes into, like, some greater detail about the disparity of his, I guess, judgment and moral compass when it came to exploiting a human.
Well,
and how it was like a launch pad for the rest of his career.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, people, black people especially, were already undervalued at that point, as were a lot of people he would later on exploit that looked different, you know, people who had, like, dwarfism, or people who had kind of, like, anomalies with their looks or whatever.
Yep.
So it was like, I feel like it was easier for people to exploit those types of people.
Of course.
During that day. But he was really, like, one of the first, and he really clung on to it and quickly learned that you could, like, turn a profit by duping people. And then he started, like, from there, he's like, oh, I don't have to do anything myself. I can just, like, manage people.
Yeah, he hated physical manual labor.
He wasn't going to do the actual work. He was just going to, like, I mean, he does become, like, a savvy marketer and stuff. But, like, for one of his first, like, opportunities to make money coming out of this, he was basically, like, finding people that were working in the same space. So, like, the people who balance, like, a stick and then put a plate on the top of it on their chin and shit, which, what the fuck? Why are people watching? Why are people paying to watch this?
Have you ever seen that shit?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't care. It's like, I don't think that's that impressive.
Well,
I mean,
let me tell you, life sucked back then. It was like anything for some escapism.
I'd rather pay to listen to someone sing a song or something, at least. I don't know. But anyway, he'd find these guys, and he's like finding the ones that are like doing the same shit. And he's like, listen, let me manage you both. We're going to do this thing where you guys are going to compete and you're going to be rivals. But I'm going to, like, plant one of you in the audience. Then when you're doing it, he's going to challenge you to a competition. Then I'm going to take bets from the audience, but we're already going to know who's going to win because one of you is going to throw it. And then we're going to make a shit ton of money. And, like, that's how all of this began. He just was like,
flam.
I can, like, fake people out pretty easily and turn a buck.
Yep. If he would have figured out wrestling, like, he would have, that would have been the beginning of wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was like his thing. This is what his whole life was based on. Yep. Was just the flim flam.
And so the quote unquote greatest showman
on Earth
or
is born. In America, whatever.
Yeah.
Is born. And so he like made some money from his initial quote unquote investment from purchasing poor sweet Joyce Heth, and he in 1841 purchased a museum. It was originally Scudder's American Museum in New York City, but the money that he actually used to, like, put up to, like, buy this is ridiculous.
So, okay, he doesn't have the money. And like, and he doesn't have an actual fucking job because he's just like duping people in shows. So, and the bank's like, we're not giving you a loan, dude. Like, you
No.
don't have no collateral. And he's like, yes, I do. I have the deed to this wonderful plot of land outside of Bethel, wherever he lived, called Ivy Island. And they were like, oh, that sounds really nice.
Oh, an island. Oh.
Oh, an island? And so he essentially scammed the bank by playing up, which, like, bank, maybe look into it a little more. Like,
listen, banks were playing fast and loose.
Yeah, things
back
were
then.
just happening, you know?
Yeah.
But so he, like, scammed his way into this loan. And that's
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Yep, that's how he got his money. That is not how it's portrayed in the movie, but he did kind of scam in the movie.
Yeah. Okay, which I think this is my thing that I wrote to my little note is like, why? You know how like Hollywood's so liberal and there's like this whole thing going around like we should be teaching actual history of this country in schools and da-da-da. So why are they making movies that are like leaving shit like this out or like painting people in such a positive light when like they were like kind of sketchy?
I mean, it's not even it's so upsetting that they spent millions of dollars making this movie.
Yeah.
And it's so unrealistic and like you know that as a viewer going into it. Obviously it's a musical. It's like it's silly. But why him? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like why do this like fantastical, like lighthearted movie about a person who was trash? So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who was like a duper.
Yeah.
He was a super duper.
Super duper. That bothers me. But anyway, so he gets this museum. He buys the museum. Mm-hmm. And he renovates the whole thing. And he renames it Barnum's American Museum.
Clever.
And let me tell you.
That's what a basic education does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to keep it simple. You just want your name up there.
True.
And that's all you need. When you're building a personal brand, keep it simple.
Keep it simple, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So, and this place had everything, let me tell you. I can't do a Stefan impression from SNL, but if I could, I would.
Try it, and then I'll try it.
Okay. This place had everything. A strolling garden on the roof, hot air balloon rides, albinos, giants, little people, jugglers, magicians, live and stuffed animals, and a baby Napoleon that's also a baby Hercules.
What's a baby Napoleon that's also a baby Hercules?
It's that thing of where you get a child little person to impersonate historical figures for people's amusement. That's my best Stefan impression.
That was pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, well, he really did have all these things. I didn't just make those up. That was literally
we're not SNL writers. We didn't just like make that stuff up. It's just like actual things.
It's an actual thing. He really did have a child little person that he would dress up as Napoleon or Cupid or Hercules or whatever, and like have him do like little, vignettes and stuff.
Oh my God.
And this was a like child.
Yeah.
Who is at the time only I think 5 years old. Yeah, he found him when he was 4.
Oh my God.
And he trained him in show business, and then like had him performing at the theater by the time he was 5.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this poor little kid, he was actually like smoking cigars and drinking wine for laughs by the age of 7. So that's fun.
For laughs, not for his own laughs, for other people's amusement.
Yeah, and this little sweet little baby was he called him General Tom Thumb. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in a little bit, but we're going to talk about the museum specifically for a little bit. So he basically used the museum as a platform to promote hoaxes and like human curiosities. Mm-hmm. He had like Fiji mermaid, which was a hoax. It wasn't a real thing. It was basically a creature that I think he like bought from somebody else who was hoaxing out there. And it was basically a monkey head sewed onto the tail of a fish.
Yeah. It was like the top half of a monkey and the tail of a fish, and just like sewed together. Not even well.
No. And that was on display, but people were like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll pay money to see that shit. He had Native American dancers as a curiosity. So I guess using a native person as a curiosity is a thing.
Well, they weren't just like living out in the world, so like, you know, like people weren't interacting with them. That's the thing. It's like all, things were like so segregated, and you know that it was a curiosity, because you're like, you don't see people that look different from you on a regular basis.
Yeah,
which is fucked up.
It's fucked up, but like they were performing essentially for people and exploited in this theater setting.
Yeah.
He had a 6-foot man eating chicken, I guess.
Not a 6-foot man eating chicken. He had a 6-foot man, eating chicken. I think this one's funny.
It is kind of funny.
It's like
because people are stupid and they're like, "Oh, a 6-foot man eating chicken, holy shit!"
Yeah.
But then if they knew grammar, then they'd be like, "Oh,
yeah," and
it's just a 6-foot man that's eating chicken.
Also, there's like something satisfying about this one, because like he was very interested in giving people what they pay for. Like, he wanted to make the experience at least worth what they were paying. This is something to me that like delivers on that. You're technically getting what you paid for. And
it's a lie, but it's like not really a lie.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like, what were you expecting? There's no such thing as a man eating chicken.
Yeah.
Like, so. And one of the most popular displays that was at the theater was a man billed as a, quote, creature found in the wilds of Africa, supposed to be a mixture of the wild native African and the orangutan, a kind of man monkey. That's the offensive poster that this said, like that was on display, said, for want of a positive name, the creature was called What Is It? And What Is It was a fucking African-American man named William Henry Johnson.
Oh my God.
That he had on display. Like,
it was just a black dude.
It was just a black guy, yeah.
Oh my God.
And before he like came to the show, he served as a cook for another showman in Barnum's Connecticut hometown. So, yeah, this is real gross.
This wasn't in the movie either?
No, it wasn't.
What?
Yeah. And then like another similar racial like othering that permeated the rest of Barnum's, quote, living curiosities was he had Aztec children who are actually from El Salvador. And then he also, at one point, when we'll talk about them a little later, obtained or retained the services of Chang and Ang, who were Siamese twins.
The original ones?
The original Siamese twins, yeah.
Before the Hilton sisters.
Right.
Oh, my God. Okay, can I ask another question about the movie?
Sure.
Was it like diverse? Was the casting diverse? Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like background people, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just like, I don't know.
Yikes.
Just a lot of yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had all these living curiosities. It's just like very offensive. I think
like half curiosities that were offensive, half just like totally like fake outs.
Yeah, just silly like jokes, like basically. And he like He became very, very fucking wealthy from this whole endeavor. So his museum became very popular and made a lot of money, and he was able to actually purchase more museums.
Oh my God.
After a time.
And fill those with more offensive things.
Exactly. Like this was all considered offensive even for this time. Like, trust and believe people were not everybody was like eating this up. It was like there was definitely like this is like the like kind of stiff-necked time in American history where like, but it's also like kind of wild too. There's like we have the wild, wild west happening in the West, and then we have this like crazy flim flam shit happening on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then so this is just a weird time. But he by late 1846, his museums had attracted over 400,000 visitors a year.
Oh my God.
And they got so busy, he was having a hard time moving people through the museum. So the like final hoax of a person's visit was a sign that read, "This way to the egress," which no one knew.
What's an egress?
Well, it means exit. I fucking love that. That was like an example of his like jokey kind of humor.
Yeah.
That was like, if you don't get it, then sucks for you kind of thing.
My favorite part of like what like the documentary I watched was like someone was like, yeah, people fucking loved it, and then they'd tell their friends like, you gotta go check out this like museum. Oh my, you have to see the egress.
Yeah.
And then you could just like imagine people like beelined it to that, thinking that was like the best part of the visit, and then they just go out to the street and they're done.
But see, and that was like what he banked on was the fact that people like to be tricked.
Yeah, and like to see other people get tricked. Like
yeah. Like he got that, and he liked that, and other people did too. But a lot of other people, like I was saying, this was like not respectable.
Yeah,
this was offensive and deeply like not. It was, I guess, family friendly, but like not. I don't know. It was lowbrow. Lowbrow entertainment. Yeah.
Very offensive. It reminds me kind of those videos where it's like, oh, do the maze or whatever, and then someone scares you. You know, like, but like when it happens to you, you hate it, but then you want to do it to someone else because you want to see their reaction.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But also it's mean sometimes.
But also super racist.
Oh, yeah. But if like those mazes were racist.
Yeah. A racist maze.
Yeah.
He like made a ton of money. He built himself his shitty ass house.
Yeah.
Well, it was a huge house.
It was nice, but like disgusting and like totally over the top.
Just gauche.
And it was called Iranistan.
I mean, come on.
I mean, someone was trying to be worldly.
Ugh. Cultural appropriation in the form of a house.
At every level.
Yeah.
Which culture is yours? He'll appropriate it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Doesn't matter.
He'll call like everything was like exotic that wasn't, and nowadays that is a very, very racist and problematic thing to say about a human. So so he was just like he has all this money, and then I had mentioned earlier the baby Napoleon Hercules.
Yeah.
That he basically like child labored into becoming his like crown jewel of the museum.
Oh yeah, General Tom Thumb.
General Tom Thumb. Yeah.
Yep.
His name, he had a name, was actually Charles Sherwood Stratton.
Oh.
And he actually was a distant relative, like a fifth cousin or something of P.T. Barnum. So that's weird. But he got his, like I said, he got his hands on him very early, like when he was like only 4 years old, and molded him into a performer. And so he has a stage name, General Tom Thumb, and becomes so popular and so well known that P.T. Barnum takes him on a tour of Europe, and they even met and performed for Queen Victoria, who is
God.
very entertained but also very saddened by him.
Yeah, because she's like, what are you doing with this? Like, what are you doing showing off this child everywhere?
Yeah, this is like a little, like a very, very small person who
Yeah.
also is a child.
Yeah. And I think, too, it's like, that's the part about this that's so hard about him specifically. Because he was a kid. Like, if he was an adult and was making his own decisions.
Right.
Which is kind of like the feeling I had about the Hilton sisters once they were old enough. It's like, if they choose to be doing this and this is how they want to make a living and they like find some sort of, I mean, they were also like kind of being forced into it. But
Yeah.
it's so hard because he's a kid and it's like this kid shouldn't be drinking and smoking. And
No.
like we should have some child labor laws around this.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But he was very famous. He was in movies and toured the world.
Yeah, he ended up becoming an international star and was one of the most famous vaudeville performers of his time.
Yeah.
So and he like ended up getting married and having like a, successful life later on.
And he made a lot of money.
Yeah, he made a lot of money. And by the 1840s, he was like General Tom Thumb, or Charles Stratton, I should say, was established enough and old enough to tour on his own. So, with that said, PT was on the hunt for his next star.
And he found one when they were in Europe, right?
Yep. And I think that's where we'll pick up in our next episode.
Yeah, it's good, you guys.
Yeah.
Because because this is the thing about this two-parter. We haven't even got to like where he gets very famous, which is with the circus.
Yeah. He's getting more famous at this point because he's like gone to Europe. He's like become internationally known. But this is just the beginning of like the fame portion of the show.
He's still got a lot of money to make. He's still got a lot of money to lose.
Oh yeah.
And then a lot of money to make again.
Yep.
And we still have a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot. Yeah, so we'll talk about all that in the next episode of DTFU.
Yay! Don't forget to follow us on social medias.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're an iTunes listener, why don't you rate, review, and subscribe?
Yeah. Do that. That'd be cool. 5 stars, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice review that says nice things. Tell your friends.
Yeah, you don't even have to. If you don't have time to write a review, you don't have to. But just like, give us 5 stars or something. That'd be super cool. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at DTFU Podcast. You can go to our website if you are like, oh, this is too much information. Our website has all the information. It's just dtfupodcast.com. And from there, we can direct you in any direction you want to go.
You know what? The world is yours at that point. You can see... We can show you this over here. It's a merch. We can give you this over here. It's our latest episodes. We can show you whatever it is. Step right up. We want to show you all the things.
Step right up. Oh my God. We have even more content over on our Patreon if you wanted to check that out. It's patreon.com/DTFU podcast. And I think that's all that I got for this portion of the show.
Same. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till next week.
Oh boy, you guys, it's so exciting. Until then,
be excellent. I don't want to steal your thing.
It's not my thing. It's Bill and Ted's.
Oh, okay. All right.
Be excellent.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.